l'équipe, est-ce que راكم تسمعوني دروك؟ إذا راكم تسمعوني دروك كتبوا لي دي كومونتير. Je sais pas est-ce que راكم تسمعوني دروك ولا لا، اللي راه يسمعني يكتب لي في لي كومونتير. داكور دونك راني نسمع دروك، جيست كان عندي بروبليم في المايك، سمحولي. دونك جو مي بريزونت، السلام عليكم كامل، سي صفا ومرحبا بكم معنا في السكند سيشن لايف كوديت. كيما على بالكم لو بروغرام لايف كوديت سي اون سيري اللي فيها مجموعة تاع السيشن اللي يكونوا لايف شاك فوندردي على 9 PM اللي فاين نستضيفو ضيف تكون عنده خبرة في مجال معين، سواء برمجيات ولا تطوير ويب أو ابليكيشن إلى غير ذلك، يعني في الدومين تاع التكنولوجي، اللي يوريلكم certain feature كيفاش ديفلوبيوها باستخدام تقنيات معينة. واليوم غادي تكون عندنا session about Payment Gateway Intergration. دونك نرحبوا بضيفنا الكريم محمد الهواري، fullstack JavaScript developer at Proxify. دونك تفضل مسيو محمد.
السلام عليكم، اسكو راكم تسمعوا فيا ليكيب؟ الو سلام. جوست صفاء قول لي اسكو تسمع فيا ونو؟
وي انا نسمعو فيك بيان.
Okay, great. So hello everyone, السلام عليكم. My name is Mohammed. I'm a full stack JavaScript developer. I work in the freelance field. Right now I'm working as a freelancer for Proxify and Upwork, and I'm so flattered and honored to be on this session today with you all, hoping that you will enjoy this session and that you will learn a few stuff about payment and how payments work. So if you just give me a second to present my screen. Okay. So you should be able to see my screen right now. I'm going to assume that you are seeing my screen, and I'm going to continue in this session. So as we said, today in this live coded session, we're going to speak about payment gateway integration. And we're going to kind of understand what is the payment gateway and how integrate it, maybe what are the type of payment gateways and so on. So let's go through these slides. On them so much, it was like little of time. I try to do my best. So let's begin. على بركة الله. What is a payment gateway? So a payment gateway is a technology that allows businesses to accept electronic payments securely from their customers. It acts as an intermediary between the merchant website and the financial institution that processes the payment. And if you see here in this kind of illustration, we have here the merchant, and the merchant is going to accept payment from his clients using the payment gateway. The payment gateway is going to secure those payments and send them to the merchant account on a bank or somewhere else. So this is like what is a payment gateway. اسمها بالعربيه هذا البيمنت جيتوي سي كوا؟ سي ان انترميديير بين لي سيت ويب، بين لي ميرشنت لي اي كوميرس ستور والبانك اكونت هذاك الميرشنت. اسمه البيمنت جيتوي، هو اللي بروسيسي هذوك لي بيمنت ويحولهم من عند الكلاينت للبانك اكونت تاع الميرشنت هذا وين. So the second question, why should we use a payment gateway? There are a ton of reasons why should we use a payment gateway, but I tried to come up with the most important reason for why most of the merchants online use a payment gateway. So the topmost reason for me, based on my judgment, is simplicity, because payment gateways offer pre-built integrations and APIs to merchant websites and e-commerce platforms. This simplifies the technical implementation and reduces the complexity of connecting directly with multiple banks or payments. سما اوليو هذا الاي كوميرس تاعنا ولا هذا الاي كوميرس ويب سايت اونر اوليو يروح يكونيكتي ديريكتومون مع لا بنك راح يستعمل بيمنت جيت واي راح تسهل عليه هذه لا مانيير كيفاش يجيب هذوك لي بيمنت ويفوتهم من لا بنك تاعو ولا الكريديت كارد تاعو. Then we have the second reason, which is customer trust. Utilizing popular and reputable payment gateways helps establish trust with customers. Recognizable payment options provided by well-known gateways contribute to the positive user experience. سما واش راه يقولنا لهنايا يقولنا بلي ايماجينو عندنا سيت ويب وين حنا رايحين نبيعوا عفسه هكا في هذاك السيت ويب تاعنا يجي هذاك اليوزر كي يدخل للسيت ويب تاعنا كون حنا ديريكتومون نقول لهذاك اليوزر كي تجي تشري هذا البرودوي مثلا لازم تدخل الكريديت كارد تاعك ديجا راح شويه شغل يتوسوس ما يبغيش يمد الكريديت كارد تاعو because it's valuable to him. But if we use a payment gateway, if we use a popular one, a well established one, he will trust our website and he will provide his payment details. So my this second reason why most of merchants use the payment gateway. Now we're going to speak about what are the most popular payment gateways on the web. I have choose two. The first one is PayPal, one of the most widely used and widely recognized and trusted payment gateways globally. It supports payment from credit card, debit cards, and PayPal accounts. And we have also Stripe, which is a developer-friendly payment gateway. It offers a simple integration process. It supports various payment methods, including credit cards and digital wallets. We have other payment gateways like Braintree, which is a service provided by PayPal itself. We have Pado, which is a new gateway. We have Amazon Pay. And in Algeria, we have not a new one, it's actually an old one. It's called Satim. I'm going to show you just in a second here. So it's satim.dz. It's kind of a payment gateway. Actually, it's more than a payment gateway, but it also provides a payment gateway for merchants through its services. So it can offer you an integration with payments if you have a merchant website located in Algeria. So that's Satim. Now we're going to be for this session we're going to be using PayPal as a payment gateway. So now we have a definition about PayPal. So what is PayPal? PayPal is a digital payment platform that allows people to send and receive money online securely. It acts as an intermediary between buyers and sellers, providing a convenient and trusted method for making transactions over the internet. Okay. So now, since we are using PayPal, we should know how to integrate with PayPal. So let's see. I mean, we're going to explain through this slide how to integrate with PayPal in a simplistic way. It's not going to be simple like this, but I'm going to try to kind of to summarize it in 3 steps. But first, let me just check if everything is working correctly on my end. I'm not receiving any comments, so I think you are hearing me correctly. So let me go back. So how do we integrate with PayPal? So the first step is to sign up for developer account by visiting the PayPal website. It's developer.paypal.com and sign up for an account. This account will enable us to access the necessary tools and APIs for the integration. So basically, in order to access the tools for the integration, we need to set up an account at PayPal. If you already have an account at PayPal, it will allow you to log into developers.paypal.com. The second step is to obtain the API credentials, and we will need to obtain an API credential such as a client ID and client secret. This is the 2 most important values to have. We obtain them from the PayPal developer dashboard, and these credentials will be used to authenticate our API request and establish a connection between our application and PayPal. The third step is to implement integration. So using the documentation, we integrate the necessary code into our application website. This typically involves making API calls to PayPal endpoints for tasks like creating payments, handling transactions. We may also need to handle redirects, capture, refund payments, and manage recurring billing if applicable. سما بالعربية واش لازم لنا باش نانتيغريو مع بايبال. لازمنا لا بروميير ايتاب هي نكريو ان كونت عند بايبال. راح الا كان عندنا ديجا ان كونت في البايبال راح يعطينا لاكسي لهذا developer.paypal.com. It's a dashboard. We're gonna see it later. The second step is to obtain the credentials. ما لازم نجيبوا هذه الكريدنشال هذو اللي نستحقوهم باش نبحثوا ليروكات البايبال. برمي هذه الكريدنشال راح نجيبوا زوج، راح نجيبوا client ID and client secret. وبعد عندنا ليطاب تا implement the integration. سما نحكموا الانتجراسيون، راح نامبليمونتوها في الويب سايت تاعنا. كيفاش نامبليمونتوها؟ راح نقراو لا دوكيومونطاسيون اللي مدها لنا البايبال ونشوفوا كاع لي زيكزامبل اللي مدهم لنا ونسيو نانتيغريوها في الويب سايت تاعنا. It's gonna be easy but we're gonna see it later. Okay, to the next slide. Now if we are working with PayPal, it's logical that we need to understand the terms that PayPal uses inside its dashboard and its services. So the first term is the sandbox account. And in PayPal context, a sandbox account refers to a test account provided by PayPal that allows developers and merchants to simulate transactions and test their integration with PayPal's payment system in a controlled environment. اسم البايبال واش راح يعطينا؟ راح يعطينا ساندبوكس اكونت. هذا الساندبوكس اكونت واش نديرو به؟ هذا الساندبوكس اكونت يخلينا نتستيو هاد الانتيغراسيون تاع بايبال بلا ما نديرو دي بايمون ريال. صافي هذوك لي بايمون راح يكونوا دي بايمون تاع تيست. They will be mocked payments. ما يكزيستيوش in real life. We are not going to bill a customer just to test our integration. سما يعطينا ان كونت. هذا الكونت راح يكون كما احنا نقولوا fake account, not fake but it's kind of fake, and any payments inside that account are fake. هذه هي sandbox account. Now API credentials. API credentials refer to the authentication credentials that are required to establish a secure connection and enable communication between your application or website and PayPal payment system via API calls. هذو ديجا شرحناهم في الإطاب اللي فاتت. قلنا باش نكومينيكيو مع بايبال لازمنا API credentials اللي هما basically an API key and API a client ID and a client secret. سماك شغل لا ماجورتي دي زابي دوكا يستعملوا هذا لي دو تيرمز client ID and client secret. If you worked with some Google APIs before, you'd know it. Now let's go to the next slide. We have also standard checkout. This term is like a recurring term. So it refers to a specific integration method provided by PayPal that allows merchants to present payment buttons to their buyers so they can pay with PayPal, debit and credit cards and alternative payment methods. So my standard checkout c'est quoi? بايبال عنده بليزيور سيرفيس. بارمي لي سيرفيس اللي مدهم بايبال للميرشنتس عندنا ستاندرد تشيك اوت. هذه ستاندرد تشيك اوت هي اللي راح نخدموا بها اليوم. الستاندرد تشيك اوت سي كوا؟ سي ميثود اللي تخلينا نافيشي واحد لي بوطون هكا تاع بايبال نافيشيهم في لو سيت ويب تاعنا. ابري اليوزر هذاك اللي يدخل لو سيت ويب تاعنا يستعمل هذوك لي بوطون تاع بايبال باش يخلص هذاك الاوبجي اللي حاب يشريه. هذا هو ستاندرد تشيك اوت. اتس ميثود provided by PayPal. سمعك شغل عنده بزاف لي ميثود. بارمي هاد لي ميثود اللي عنده باش نديرو انتراكسيون مع بايبال بيمنت عنده هذه ستاندرد تشيك اوت. The next term to understand is the order. An order to represent a payment between two or more parties. We use the orders API to create, update, retrieve, authorize and capture orders. Order هذا سي كوا؟ الاوردر سماك شغل هو هي شغل هذيك لا ترانزاكسيون اللي راح تصرى بين الميرشنت والباير. سما الانسان اللي يشري مع الانسان اللي راح يبيع. هذيك لوبيراسيون اللي تصرى بيناتهم هي الاوردر. هذه هي. We have also another term which is the create order. So the create order refers to the initial step in the payment process where the merchant generates an order and sets up the payment details for a customer's purchase. سمحنا دوك هذا الاوردر قلنا سي لوبيراسيون اللي تصرى بين الميرشنت والباير. سما لو تيرم create order معناها راح نكريو هذيك لا ترانزاكسيون. فوالا. عندنا capture payment. Capture payment refers to the action taken by a merchant to collect the authorized funds from a customer's PayPal account or payment source after successful authorization. سما واش يصرى؟ هاد لي دو مو سماك شغل جايين في رحبه. واش يصرى؟ حنا كي جا عندنا اليوزر للويب سايت تاعنا للويب سايت تاع الميرشنت باش يشري عفسه. واش راح يدير؟ راح يكري ان اوردر. سماك شغل كي كليك في هذاك لي بوطون تاع باي our website will create an order. بصح هذاك الاوردر صافي دير بابلي دينا الدراهم اللي عند هذاك اليوزر. When we create an order, we need also to show a screen to the user. In that screen, PayPal would ask the user to validate the order. سما البايبال يسقسي اليوزر يقول له اسكو راك قابل تشري من عند هذا الميرشنت. When the user authorizes the payment حتى الحد لهنايا مازال اليوزر مازال الميرشنت ويب سايت مازال ما داش الدراهم من عند اليوزر. وين تصرى هذيك الاكسيون تاع ندو الدراهم من عند اليوزر تصرى when we capture the payment. سما we create an order for the user, for the client, for the buyer. Then the buyer accepts that order or validates it, approves it. You would see all these terms. So approve or validate or accept it. Then what we do in our end, we capture the payment after the user has authorized this payment. سما لي طاب كيفاش تصرا يجي لي طاب كيفاش يصراو تجي create order. We do it ourselves. The merchant will create the order and set it up for the user. The user authorizes it, and there is the third part, the third step, which is capture the payment. So the merchant will capture the payment. Voila. And we have these two terms which you may already kind of know, since we explained it a little bit. So the merchant refers to an individual or business entity that sells goods or services and accepts payments from customers using PayPal as a payment method. اسمها الميرشنت في الكات تاعنا والانسان اللي راح يبيع هذا الديجيتال goods or goods in general or services. The buyer refers to an individual or customer who makes a purchase or payment using PayPal as their chosen payment method. اسمها الباير في الكات تاعنا هو اللي راح يشري في هذا الاوبجي ولا هذا السيرفيس from the merchant using PayPal, of course. Now it's time to code it live together. So let's see how to code it live together. But before, let me check if my stream is working correctly. Do I have any comments? If you just tell me if everything is working correctly, I would be so appreciative.
وي كلش راه يمشي مليح.
Oh, okay, amazing. So now let's go to the code it together time. So in order, before we code it together, I wanted to show you kind of the product that we are going to code, to kind of have an expectation of what we are going to build and see kind of the final results of what we are going to build. So right now here in my command line, so this is my command line, I have a project set up where I have the kind of the finished results. So it's a Next.js project. I would assume that you all know about Next.js. Next.js is a front-end framework. Where is it? It's here. So it's a front-end framework, not a front-end framework. It's a full-stack framework, and it allows us to create front-end components and also back-end components. So we're going to be using Next.js for the simplicity and for the fact being the standard way of creating web applications right now. So I have the project set up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to run a script to start it. So I'm going to do npm run dev. I'm hoping that everything will work correctly. As you know, when things are live, they are not supposed to be working. So let's try. Let me go here, try to refresh. So this is like a dummy kind of shop that I created using Next.js. So this is like the simplest design I could have come up with. It's just for showcase purposes, because we are not going to be focusing on the design itself, but we are going to focus on the implementation and how to implement this notion of payment gateway. Okay, so let's assume that this is our shop. This is our fancy shop. We are so proud of it, and we have few items in our shop. So usually the customers come and see this product and they kind of choose to buy a product. So here, when they choose to buy a product, they go to the product page, and as you see here, we are showing them some buttons, and these buttons are coming from PayPal. This is like what we were speaking about, the standard checkout method. So this is their method. They allow you to show buttons on your website. So this is our website, but these buttons here are coming from PayPal. And when the user wants to buy this item, they click on this PayPal kind of button. Give it a second. Now they are asked to enter the PayPal details. So I have their details here. So imagine that I am a person who has some money and wants to buy a shoe. So this is their password. I press login. Okay. It's asking me to save it. Should I save it? No. So now it's showing me what I'm about to buy and how much I'm going to pay. So it's showing me that I'm paying $100, and it's asking me if I want to pay from my PayPal balance or use my credit card. So I'm going to select PayPal balance and click on purchase. Let's wait for it a bit because PayPal sandbox is a little bit slow. So now I have finished my purchase, and I have bought this fancy looking shoe. Its name is Jello. I think it's looking like a Jello. So this is like the product that we are going to build, and let's start doing it. Okay. So let me stop my server here, clear everything. I'm gonna go to a new folder. This is like my folder for the playground. Okay, let me go here. It should not show right now. Yeah, because I stopped my server. So now we're gonna be starting by setting up the Next.js application. So I'm gonna go to Next.js. Okay, I can go to their website, nextjs.org. Then I'm gonna click on getting started. In the getting starting section, it's gonna show you a little introduction about Next.js. We're gonna skip that because it's not our subject today. And we're gonna go to installation. And here it's gonna give you a script or a command line to start a new Next.js application. So I'm gonna copy it. I'm gonna try it here in this window and see what it does for me. Okay, so it's asking me for the name of my project. How should I name it? Let's name it live. Let's name it GDG payments. Okay. Now it's asking me if I should use TypeScript or not. Of course, I'm going to be using TypeScript. Who is not going to use it? And it's asking me if I should use ESLint. Let's say yes. It's asking me if I use Tailwind. Tailwind is a CSS library, and most of us are using it today, so why not use it? It's asking me if I should if I would like to use the source directory with this project. I'm going to say no. It's asking me if I should use the new app router. This is like a new way of creating applications within Next. There is the old way, and there's this new way called the app router. It's looking fancy, so let's use it. And here it's asking me if I should customize my import. No, I don't want to do that. And now it's starting to create the project for me. Okay. Let's wait for it. Now it's installing the dependencies. I think my connection is slow, so it's taking a little bit of time, but let's wait for it. Okay, now it's asking me for my my password to create a commit. So I'm going to put my password. Okay, and now I have my project set up at this folder. So let's cd into it. Okay, so now we have our folder. So we can now run npm dev. Okay, let's wait a bit. Now let's go to localhost and try to refresh. And see, we should have our Next.js, our default template. Okay, so this is our default template with Next.js. What we're going to do, we're going to remove some of this stuff and implement our own design. Okay, so let's do this. cd into the folder again, and let's start VS Code. Okay, so this is my first page, and this is the content that's showing right now on the screen. Okay, so you should be able to delete it. Let me try to delete it from here to here. Okay, and say hello on the other side. And see if our code, yeah, so it's working correctly. Now for the design, as you saw earlier, I'm going to be using a different library. It's a component library, and it's built on top of Tailwind CSS, and it's named Daisy UI. So Daisy UI is a component library. It will allow you only, not allow you, but give you some pre-made components to use them in your project. And I'm going to be using it just for the sake of simplicity, so I don't write a lot of HTML and a lot of CSS using Tailwind. So I'm going to be using this library to provide me with the components. So let's go to the components. And the first component I'm going to be using is the card component. Okay, so you go here to card, it's going to give you the components. So let me go here to kind of copy the code. But since we are using React, I'm not going to copy HTML, but I'm going to copy JSX. Okay, so I'm going to click here, copy it, go here, and paste it. Okay, so I have pasted my component. It should work. So let me see, but it shouldn't show the image. Yeah, so the image is missing, but we forget something, I guess. Yeah, we forget to install it. So we talked about using it, but we forget to install it. So let's go back a step and install Daisy UI. It's simple to install. So you go to install here, and it's going to give you the commands, the exact commands. So I'm going to copy it. Okay, and I'm going to paste it here. So first thing done. Now I'm going to copy this line here. It's telling me that you need to go to this file and add this section here. So let me copy it and go to this file. It's tailwind config and paste it here. Okay. Now we should have it working. So let's see. So now the card is working, but the picture is not showing. That's because we didn't upload the picture or bring it to our folder. So let's open it in a new tab. Okay, and let's try to use it like this. It will work or no. Back to our app. So yeah, so now the app, the card is showing. We need maybe to add the price. So let's see in Daisy UI, how can we show a price? Maybe a badge would work. So let's look for a badge maybe. Yeah, the badge looks a bit good. Okay, so let's use a badge to show the price. JSX, I'm gonna take this one, the secondary. So let me copy it. Go here to my title. Where is it? This is the title. I'm gonna copy it, and here I'm gonna put a random price. Look for the symbol price. And now we're gonna call it like we called our earlier. And let's call it winter collection. And here let's put some lorem ipsum and see. So here is, did I save it? No. So here is our kind of product, and here this button for buying the product. So now what should we do? We should show like a list of products, because one product is not enough. So let me try to copy this product. Where is it? It starts from here. Okay. And I'm going to copy it or extract it to its own component. So let's create a component, const product card. It's an arrow function that returns a component. And let's put it here. Okay. Let's maybe do 3 of them. So now they are showing on top of each other. So let me try to put flex container here. So I'm just going to do flex container. I'm going to say flex row to make it look like a row. And I'm going to put a little bit of a gap between them. So let's do a gap of, I don't know, 12. And let's do center maybe. I don't know. Let's try and see. Okay, so now they are showing in a row. Maybe we add another one to see. Okay, so we have our products showing. Maybe now we need to bring the navbar. So let's go here and look for navbar component. We have a good navbar here. We can bring it. Let's bring this one. It looks like a good component. So let's bring it. Just gonna copy it. Go here. Or should we do it in a component? Let's do it in a component. It's gonna be better. So let's create a new folder here and call it components. If I can see components. Let's add new navbar component. Maybe add an index file to serve that navbar. Inside the navbar, we're gonna do component like this. Export default navbar. We're gonna paste the things that we brought from Daisy UI. And let's go here and import it. But first we need to export it from this file. I think we exported it. Okay. Export everything from, it's not doing it, from navbar. And here I'm gonna make it a const instead of a default export, because that's better for performance. So I'm gonna do function. Sorry. So I'm gonna make it a const our function, and I'm going to export it. Okay, format my document, save this file, and now if I go here and import the navbar, import it from the components. Okay, let's see how it looks in our website. Okay, so the navbar is looking good, but we need to make it at the top. So what we need to do, we need to remove the padding from this container. By between, maybe we don't need it. Okay, so let's remove it. Now maybe we need to add a gap between the navbar and the next element, which is the row of products. So let's do a gap of 48 maybe. No, it's a lot, so maybe it's I don't know. What should we do? 20 maybe? Yeah, 20 is good. Now we need to fix this user avatar. So let me go back to Daisy UI. Where is it? And let me bring this image. Okay. And let's add this image to the user avatar inside the navbar. So where's our user? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I can't seem to find it. Where is it? Yeah, it's here. Okay. Let's see. So the user is looking good. Let me change the title. So where is it? It's here. My fancy shop. Okay. So we have finished this this section, this page. So right now we are kind of copy pasting the elements, but why not we do it in a better way? So let me kind of create a list of products and use a map to kind of map over those products and do this. Okay. So let's go to this website. It's called Macaru. By the way, I'm going to be giving you all the websites and links we're going to be using through this project. So we're going to share them later. This website allows you to create some fake data. Okay, so we're going to be creating some fake data for our products. Okay, so each product would have an ID maybe. It would have a title or name. Name would be like product name maybe. Let me check. Yeah, so product name. We would have a description. Description, is it correctly worded? Description. And here in the description, we should have something like a paragraph maybe. Okay. We should have price. That should have price. So let's search for price. Money maybe. Let me check. Yeah, money. Sorry. Didn't choose the right. So by the way, this website is generating fake data. You're gonna see the data that's gonna be generated. So here, description is a paragraph, and I'm gonna say give me only one paragraph for description, and for price, give me a price between 10 and 100. Okay, and I'm gonna remove this. I'm gonna remove this, so I don't need it. So I need the ID, the name, the description, the price. What should we need? Let me check. What does our product take? It takes an image. We're gonna use this dummy image. It's gonna take a title, a price, and description. Okay. So now I'm gonna select how many data it's gonna be generating. So I'm gonna be generating 1,000 record, but for the sake of this project, I'm gonna be only generating 4. So it's gonna give me only 4 items or 4 products, and I'm gonna be using JSON. Okay, and here instead of clicking on generate data, which should download the file for me, I'm just gonna click on preview. And here in this preview, it's going to give me the data. So I'm going to take it, copy it, close this website since I don't need it anymore. I'm going to go here to my page. I'm going to go on the top, and I'm going to say products, and I'm going to save them. Okay. Wi-Fi format. So I have my products. Now I can loop over these products and print a product for each one. But first, I'm gonna give my product kind of component. I'm gonna give it the props that it's gonna accept and show here. So we're gonna be going to accept a title. So let's declare type props. I'm gonna take an ID. Okay, it's gonna be a string or a number. Let's do a number. Okay, so this is TypeScript, by the way. It's gonna accept a name, which is a string. Okay, sorry. I just type correctly. Going to accept a description. Is also a string. It's going to accept a price, which is, let me go back to the top, which is also a string. Okay. So these are the props for my component. I'm going to give them, make them here. Okay. So I'm going to be accepting an ID, name, description, and a price. Okay. So let's put the name here. Let's put the price here. Okay. Let's put the description here. Okay. And in this button, I want, when I click on this button, it should take me to a new page where I show the product. So here on the home page, we are showing all the products, but I want when I click on this buy now, it should take me to the product page. So instead of this button, I'm going to be replacing it with a link from Next.js. Okay, and the href, or the location where it should take me to a page. So let me do this. So it should take me to a page called shop. Okay, so it's /shop, and here it should take me to the product ID. So let's do this. Sorry. So here we should put the ID. So now if I click on this link, it should take me to this location, @shop/ID. Okay. Now this is yelling at me because it's waiting for this props to be passed, but we're gonna pass them by looping through this array. So let's do it. So let's do products.map. Okay. And this should give me a product as the parameter. Okay, and it should render a product card. So let's grab this, yank it out, put it here, read this. So now, obviously, since we are doing a map, we should give it a key. So let's give it a key, which is the product ID. Let's give it a name property, which is the product name. Name. We should also give it a description. So let's do it this way. Product description. And we should also give it an ID. So let's bring this one and copy it. Okay. And just name it ID. Okay. Now it's yelling at us because it's waiting for something else. Yeah, we missed the price. So let's add the price. Product. And we should be fine. So let's do this, remove unused import, and we should have it correctly. Okay, let's go back. So now it's showing a different kind of text for each of our products. It's showing the same image because we didn't replace it. We're going to replace it later. So we're going to put a new image for each product. Maybe we use images from stock or something else. So let me think a little bit. Okay, so we have our product ready. And we said that we want, when we click on our product, it should take us to a page. So now if I click on it, it takes us to this page, but this page doesn't exist. So in order to create it, let's go to my app folder. I'm going to create this page. So I'm going to call it shop. Okay. And inside it, I should have a dynamic kind of dynamic segment in the route where here it accepts an ID. So 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, because if we go back and click here on buy now, it should take us to 2. Now if I click here, it should take us to 3. Okay, so we should accept a dynamic segment. So let's create that. In Next.js, we do it this way. ID, let's call it Slack or ID. Okay. So now here we need, inside this folder, we need to create a new page. Okay, page TS6. And let's copy this one, put it here, and maybe remove what we don't need. Okay. So let's remove this. Let's remove this. Components, we're gonna need it. This one, maybe we remove it. We're gonna keep the navbar, but we're gonna import it using the right way. So let me try to do this. Okay. Remove some unused imports. Do this. Okay, and here we can say welcome to product page. Okay, so now if I click on buy now, it's taking me to the product page. But there is something that I don't like. I don't like the ID being here a number. So I'm going to try to replace it with the name of the product, but not the name, because the name is not going to be accepted as a valid URL. So I'm going to be using a slug. So basically what a slug is, so the slug is the same as the name of a product, but instead of having spaces and so on, it's going to be written in a URL friendly way. And there is a package for that. We're going to use it. We are not going to try to implement ourselves. So let's look for npm slugify. It's an easy package, sorry. Slugify. This will take a string and make it in slug. So you see here, it's given they are given a string, some string that with a space, and it's returning it in a URL friendly way. Okay, so let's install it on our page here. Sorry. Okay, so we have installed Slugify. Now we need to put it here. So what we're gonna do, Slugify, should import it. What we are going to change to a slug, we are going to change the name, okay? And we're gonna do to lowercase. So we make it lowercase. Okay. Now if we click on this, or if we go back to our application, let me just go back. If I go back to my shop and click on buy now, it should take me, sorry, let me just refresh. Yeah, so now it's taking me to the at slash shop slash the name of our product. Okay, bear in mind this is not the correct product name, but it's like the dummy one. But it's not our purpose to kind of to go into these details. We need to create a design to see how to implement the payment gateway. So we're going to go through this fast. Now let's implement the product page, and for that I'm going to go back to Daisy. Maybe I find something that I can use. So let's go to card. Okay, let me wait a second. Card, okay. I'm gonna just check if everything is working. I think everything is working. Okay, so let me close this one. So let's go to Daisy UI card, and I'm gonna choose a component that fits my need. Okay. Yeah, I think this one, maybe, I don't know. Okay, maybe I'm gonna be using this one. Okay, so let's copy it. Okay, let's go to the product page. Where is it? It's here inside the page, and I'm gonna remove this one. Okay, and paste it here and see what happens. For the image, I'm gonna be using the same product image. Okay, where is it? Here. Product. Fancy shoes. Intersection, for example. Here we can put a description. So let's put some lorem ipsum. Okay. And here, instead of saying watch, I should say buy. Okay, let's see what happens in our application. Okay. So we need to give it a width first. Let's give it a width. Let's go to the card component. Okay, and give it a width. So it should go here. Width, for example, let's try this. See? It's a bit small. Let's remove this one. We put it here. Okay, remove this shadow. I don't need it. Don't like it actually. Okay, and this here, maybe we increase it. Okay, increase it a bit. 1,000 maybe. Okay, we have my my product here showing. I need something. What I need is, let me check. The navbar. I don't like this color. I'm not going to use it here. Okay. So now here's my navbar, and here's my product. The page may look a little bit different from the design that we showed earlier because we are doing it live. So here's my product. Now I need to show a price here. So let me try to show the price. Let me go back to Daisy UI. Okay, and I'm going to use the badge as we used earlier. Let me go here to JSX, copy this one, insert it where? Let's insert it here. Okay, and here maybe we put a price. Okay. So we have our price and we have our product description, and maybe here this button for buying this product. Okay. And I'm going to remove this one, justify end, because I don't like it. Okay. Let's call it buy now. Okay. So right now we have the product page and we have the shop. Now we need to, when we click on the shop, it needs to take us to the home page. So let's gonna implement that. So let's go to our navbar, look for the logo. Where is it? It's this one, and we can give it an href or change it to a link. So let's change it to an Next.js link, okay, and give it an href, and let it go to the root. Now, if I click on it, it should take me to a root. If I click on the product, it should take me to the product page. So we have a working kind of design, and now we need to implement the PayPal buttons. Okay. So let me do this. Okay. So let me commit it. And let's call it working. Okay. Okay, good. Let's go back to the live. Is everything working correctly? If you just assure me again. Hello. All good. Amazing. All good. Okay. So now we need to implement the PayPal buttons, but in order to do that, we need to understand how PayPal works and so on. So let's put aside the design. So we have finished the design. Now let's go to the implementation. So we need first, let me close these ones, okay, because we don't need them. So we need first to kind of understand, as I said, the PayPal developer and how it works. So we said that we're gonna be using the standard checkout in PayPal, and this is like a method. You can find it on developer.paypal.com, and it's a method that would allow us to show some buttons, and these buttons would appear on our website, and when the user clicks on them, it should take him to the checkout phase that I showed you earlier. Okay. So let me do one thing. So now we need to show you, let me go back to one thing, sorry. So we have set up the next project. This is like my notes. We have built a minimal shop page using this UI. So the next step is to create a PayPal developer account. Okay, and for this, I need to go to my PayPal, but I'm gonna be stopping the screen sharing just for a second, just to disclose my information. Sorry. Where is it? It's here. No, it's here. Okay, so I'm gonna be like stopping my screen just for a second, just to kind of make sure that my details are not showing, and I'm gonna go back. Okay, so I'm gonna, where is it? Stop screen sharing. You're not seeing my screen right now, so we should go back, refresh my PayPal account, login. Okay. So now everything is good. I have logged into my account. Let me present again my screen, share my screen, entire screen, select it, share. So now you should be able to see my screen again. Okay, let me go back. Let me just check if it's working. Yeah, it's working. So let me go back. So this is like the PayPal developer dashboard. As I said, you need to create an account. If you already have a PayPal account, it would allow you to log into this dashboard. If you don't, you just create a real PayPal account. Then you go to developer.paypal.com, and it's going to ask you to log in with your real account, and it's going to open this dashboard for you. This is like for us developers who want to create integrations. And as you see here in this dashboard, it's going to say, hey, developer. And this is like the most popular integrations or the most kind of popular solutions that PayPal offer. And as you see here, the most popular one is the standard checkout, which is the one we are implementing right now. Here it's saying that your account is in sandbox mode. We explained what is a sandbox mode here in the presentation earlier. Yeah, it's like a test account. Let me go back. So we are in sandbox, we are not live, and also here it's showing you that you are in sandbox mode, just to kind of give you kind of to signal to you that you are not in a live mode. Okay. So now, in order to start an integration or to create an integration, what we need to do, we need first to create some accounts, and I'm going to show you how to create them. And also we need to create an app, and the app would give us the credentials. We're gonna see it in a second. So first of all, I'm gonna go to sandbox accounts. Okay, and here I already have I have already created these accounts, but for the sake of this this session, I'm gonna remove them. So first, let me remove the app that I created before. So let me delete it. It's asking me to provide a name, so I'm gonna say this is the app that we were using earlier to do the demo. Okay, so let me delete it. Okay, it's deleted. Now I can delete the account. So I'm going to go back to sandbox accounts, and I'm going to delete this two ones. So it's merchant and buyer. So basically, you need, in order to have a sandbox account, you need to create two accounts, one for the merchant, for the one who is owning the merchant website, and one for the buyer, which is the user who is going to buy your item. Now I'm going to go back to create an account. Okay. Here it's asking me if I'm going to create a personal account, which is the buyer account, or I'm going to create a merchant account. So I'm going to create a personal account first. I'm selecting the region of America. I'm not selecting Algiers because there are some restrictions on Algiers account. You need to verify and so on. And for the sake of this session, we want it easy. So we want to create it in US, and I'm going to click on create. Okay, so this is my, let me just refresh. So this is the account. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to edit it to make it easier to kind of to work with. So I'm going to go to edit. Okay. I'm going to click on edit. Here I'm going to put the email. So I'm going to do my email. So it's buyer.at@gdgalgiers.com. Okay. And here's the password. So let me copy the password. This password is generated by PayPal. So I'm going to copy, I'm just going to put it here for reference. Okay. I'm going to copy the email, which is the same, and I'm going to put it here. This is for later when we are about to use it. Okay. Let me go back. Now we have created this merchant account, this buyer account. Let's go to create the merchant account. Okay. So let me save. As I said, sandbox account, sandbox PayPal is a little bit slow, so we need to kind of work with it slowly. Let's wait for it a bit. Refresh maybe to show the correct informations. So we have created this buyer account. Now let's create a new account for the merchant, the owner of the website or the owner of the business, the same region, it's United States. I'm going to create it. And now it should show in a second. So as you see, it's different. It's business, but we're going to change it. So let's view edit. And we're going to edit it here. And instead of this long email, I'm going to do merchant at Algiers. Okay. By the way, let's see if this is working website. I see it's a cool website. Good. So let's go back. Let's take the password. Okay, save. Bring the password. Paste it here. And the email should be the same that we have done here. But let's kind of, to be sure, let's copy it. Okay. So we have it here. Now what we need to do, we have created the sandbox account. So this is the accounts that we're going to be using in order to log into PayPal and see the transactions and so on. So the buyer would use this email to log into PayPal and buy something, and the merchant would use this the email. Let me just refresh it. The merchant would use the merchant at gdgalgiers.com email to log in also to his account and see all the transactions happening on this account. Don't pay attention to these ones. These are for some things I was working on. This is like the default. When you create an account, PayPal would create this for you. I'm not going to be using them. Now I'm going to go back to apps and credentials. As we said earlier in the presentation, we need something called API credentials. So we need to get them. And in order to get them, we need to create an application. Let me close this one, go back to PayPal. And now I have these credentials for my application. I'm going to create a new app for this project. And I'm going to call it Live Coded. Okay, it's a merchant type of app. There are two types, platform and merchant. For our purposes, we're going to be using merchant. And here I'm going to be selecting the sandbox account. That's going to be the admin for this business or for this application. And it's going to be merchant RGTZ Algiers. And I'm going to create the app. Okay. Once I create the app, it should show me something. Let's wait for a second. Okay. So once I have created an app, now it's giving me the details that I was looking for, the API credentials. So we have the client ID and a secret key. So let's take the client ID, put it somewhere here, just for reference. So let's name it client ID and put it here. Okay. And let's go to the secret key, copy it and put it here. Secret key. And put it here. So I have my secret and my client ID. I'm going to be using them later. So now I have finished creating the PayPal developer account, and we have finished creating the application and getting the API credentials, which is the client ID and client secret. So now let's go back to where we was before. We was here. So it's saying that you have, in order to set up the standard payment kind of method, it's showing you here how it works. And let's go to the next steps. So now it's telling you that before you code. So it's telling you that in order to kind of integrate this integration into your website, you need to get started. And when you get started, it's going to show you the API and so on, and it's going to tell you how to kind of create the account. We already did this, and it's also telling you that you need an email and password of a personal sandbox account. We already did that. It's saying here that it's in order to test a checkout purchase, you need to have those. We have them. It's also telling you that you need a client ID. You can read it on your own. And here, what's giving you, it's telling you that they have a REST API. So PayPal basically have a REST API, and they have a documentation for it in Postman. I think you know Postman. And if you click on this button, it's going to open Postman and fork the API documentation for the API into a Postman. I already did that, so let me show you. Okay, so let me open it. So if I open my Postman, I already forked their kind of collection. Postman is a client for sending requests, and it should show me here all the requests that PayPal accept. So this is, for example, the authorization, and here it's the request to get an access token from their API. We already said it on the presentation. The client credentials are used to kind of interact with PayPal. So we use the client credentials to get an access token. We also said that we have orders, and we can create order and capture an order and so on. So they will give you all these details here in their Postman collection, and you can check them. I don't know why it's taking so much time. So let me try to click it. Yeah, so it should show you here all the details, what are the requests, what each request accepts as parameter, and so on and so on. Okay, so let me go back, sorry. And here it's going to explain to you how it works. So basically, it's saying that you add the payment buttons to your web page. So basically, we have some buttons that we need to add to our web page. Your buyer clicks on the button. So the client who is going to use our website, our e-commerce website, is going to be clicking on that button, on those buttons. The backend server, our backend server, will call the API, the PayPal API. It's the orders API. If we open it here, it's going to show you the docs for this kind of request. So we are going to call their API at this URL with this parameter. So our server will be doing that. Then our backend server will launch the PayPal checkout experience. We're going to see that. The buyer approves the payment. As I said before, the buyer needs to approve the payment in order for us to capture it. And then our backend server will capture this order to finalize the transaction. Then after that, you show a confirmation message. And here, if you go just a little bit down, it's going to give you the sample JavaScript code that we can use in order to add those buttons to our application. And we're going to be doing that. So as you see here, what they are doing, they are having a script. So they are adding a script for PayPal, and here they are having a div. So this is a div, and in this section they add script, and they call this kind of object, and they call this method buttons. And inside this method, they provide it with this. We're gonna copy and add it bit by bit. Okay. So first of all, let's try to add this script to our page. Okay. So let's go close everything. Okay. Okay, let me go here to my page. So now I need to replace this button with the PayPal button. Okay, so let me try to do this. Copy, okay, create something like this, PayPal button component, and I'm gonna create it later. Okay, let me do this. I wanna make it like this. Okay, so this is a component. Now I need to create it. So let me create it here. New file, PayPal button. Okay, tsx. Okay, and let me do export const PayPal button component. Right now it's not accepting anything. Okay, but since we are using the app router, everything in Next.js is going to be server side by default. So in order to specify for our Next.js that this button or this component is a client component, because we need some interaction in the client, we need the PayPal kind of script and so on. So we need to specify that this is a client component, and we can specify it using use client. This is on Next.js jargon. You can learn about it. Let's save it. Okay, export it from here. So let's do export everything from PayPal button. Okay, and let's go to our page. We should be able to import it right now. Okay, so now we have imported it. Let's save and refresh and see. We should have everything working. Server component type undefined. Let me just refresh and try. Okay, we did something not correct. Maybe we didn't. Yeah. So now everything is working correctly. So we have the button. Now we need to replace this button with PayPal buttons. But first, they said that we need to bring their script. So where is it? It's here. Let's close this one. So they said that we need to bring this script. And since we are using Next.js, we need a clever way to bring it. So let's look for some hooks that would allow us to load a script into our application. I think there is a website called usehooks.ts. Okay. This is a website that provides you with already pre-built hooks that you can use on your application. So let's look for a use script hook. This would allow us to load our script. Okay. So there's the documentation. It's saying that you need, after you install the use hooks TS library, you can have this hook that you're going to be using, or that you can use for loading scripts or loading JavaScript files from the internet. So, okay, so let's try to do it. So let's go to install first. Production, install. Let me install it. Okay, use hooks. So I installed it. Let me go back. I need to import it on my project. So let's import it. PayPal buttons. Okay, so I've imported my hook. Now I need to ask it to load my script for PayPal. Okay. I need first to change my component type. I need to make it like this. Turn this here, and let's remove this one and put it at the top. Okay, and remove this format. But now we need to change this jQuery with the script that PayPal is giving us. So let me go to PayPal again. Okay. So where's the script? This one. Okay. Let me paste it here. And as you see here, it's telling me that you can load the script, but here in the script, you see there is this client ID. So they are specifying that you need to put here your client ID that you got from PayPal. So let's try to add it here. Okay. So now where to get this client ID? We already have it. So let's copy it. We can paste it directly here, but it's not a good way. So let's declare a new environment variable. So let's go here, new file, .env.local. Okay, and here I'm going to do next public to declare a variable, and I'm going to name my variable client ID or PayPal client ID. Sorry, PayPal client ID. If I just type correctly, this is my client ID. Okay, now I'm going to take this one, save it, go here, const client ID is going to be process.env to bring my variable. Okay, and I'm going to put it here. Okay, so now I have my string for loading the PayPal script, and I'm loading it using a hook. Now I can listen for the status variable and see when the status is ready. I know that my script has been loaded. Okay, so now let's use an effect. By the way, this is all React. Use an effect. Okay, and here we're going to be listening for the status. Okay, and here I'm going to do console log on the status. Okay, so if I did everything correctly, when I save this PayPal button component and go back to my application, I should see that when this script has loaded correctly, it's going to console log to the console of the Chrome browser. It's going to log the status of the loading. Okay, so let's go back. Now let's open up the console. Okay, so you see here first it logged to me loading, then it logged ready. So right now we know that our script or our PayPal script is ready, and we also know that if we go to window, okay, and go to PayPal, you should see PayPal here. Okay, and you see here if I kind of console log it, it shows me that the PayPal has been loaded and I have access to this PayPal object, and inside it I have access to this buttons function. Okay, which is the same thing that you saw here. So PayPal buttons. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add the logic. So right now I'm going to do if status is equal to ready, what I'm going to do, I'm going to render PayPal buttons. Okay, now we need to create this function. So let's create it. Const render here, render button, arrow function that does something here. So here what I'm going to do, first I'm going to check if window is not undefined. Shouldn't be, but I need to check anyway. And also I need to check if the window.PayPal is not undefined. Okay, so let me do it. PayPal is not undefined. Okay, now TypeScript is going to yell at me because PayPal is not, it doesn't know that the window has a PayPal object. So let's just do it like this. Just stop yelling at us, and we're gonna say as any. Okay. So now we know that we have here, if we get inside this if section, we know that we have the window object, we have the PayPal object inside it, and it's not undefined, and we can run what they were asking us to do in this section. Okay, we can do this. We can do PayPal.buttons. Okay, and we can give it the div where it should render. Okay, so now let me just fix this because it's not me. PayPal buttons. Okay. Now what we can do, we can grab this, all of this code, okay, copy it, and paste it here. Here, instead of saying PayPal, we need to say window PayPal. Okay. Buttons, let's kind of bring these functions, let's bring them, okay. For now, I'm gonna just do them empty, make them empty. Okay, let me remove this one. Just make them empty so we test that everything is working, then we should implement them later. Okay. Buttons. Okay, it's accepting an object, and this is, I think, think I broke something. Okay. Don't need this, I guess. Yeah. Okay. So now what we are saying that this PayPal object has a function buttons, and these buttons should render the PayPal buttons, but it's gonna be rendering them at this div. But right now this div doesn't exist. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna create it. So let's take this ID, and here instead of this button, let's just render div. Okay, and give it this ID. Okay, let's format, save, and let's pray that everything is going to be working correctly. Okay, so let me go back to my next app, and as you see here, I have these buttons, but why it's showing small? So let me go back. Maybe because I have this cart action thing. Let me remove it. Okay, so now it's showing the buttons. And of course, we can style these buttons. We can do a lot of things. But if you want to check the styles, to customize. So here, this is the customize. Where is it? Sorry. Just give me a second. Where is it? Yeah. So here's the. If you go to this section, it's saying that if you want to style your buttons, you can go to this page, and it's going to give you the styles that you can provide. So I can provide the layout. It be a vertical layout or a horizontal layout. I can customize the label. I can customize the type of the buttons. So here you see it's showing as vertical, and here's horizontal view. I can change the colors. I can change the shape, the size, the width, and so on. And I can also remove this section here, this Powered by PayPal section, but we are not going to do that. Of course, right now, if we click on this PayPal button, it's not going to do anything because right now we didn't set it up correctly. We didn't put these methods. Okay, so let's do this method. Let's create them. Okay, let's bring it here. Let's paste it here. So let's declare a create order function. Okay. And we're going to say that this function, so here it's saying that it's going to send a post request to your server, and my server is going to be in Next.js. So I'm going to say /API, and I'm going to create those APIs later. And for example, I'm going to say payments, and here I'm going to specify payment, and I'm going to specify here create order or create payment. I'm going to just say create. The method is going to be a post method. The headers is going to be application.json. And here, I'm going to be putting the body of my request. So here, I'm going to be kind of creating the items of my cart. Okay, so I'm going to do one for just one item. You can customize this as you see fit for your project. And then for example, I'm going to just put something dummy here. It's like the SKU number for my product. Okay. So right now, if a user comes to my website, clicks on the button, this button here, clicks on this button here, it should fire this function. And this function, what it should do, it should go to my API to go to this route, and it should go with it should fire this request with a post method, and it should send this this kind of object. Okay, and then it's going to take the response, and it's going to extract the order ID from this response and give it back to the PayPal's to the PayPal button. But sorry, I pasted the code in the wrong location. So let me go to PayPal buttons. Should be here. Back. So as I said, this create order, let me put it here instead of this empty function. So right now, the create order, it's gonna fire a fetch request with a post method to my API server, which I didn't create yet, but I'm going to create later. And it should fire it with this body parameter, and it should take the response back and extract the order ID from this response. Okay. Now let's go to the second method, which is the onApprove method. Let's copy it as it is. Let's bring it here. Okay, let's remove this one. Just going to keep the console log. Okay, function approve. It's going to take data. It's going to be for now any, because we don't know the type of data. Let me format it. it's going to send a request once this function is going to be fired when the user approves the payment, and it's going to send a request to my server. So let me customize the route. I want it to send the request to this route, API payments capture or approve, and it's going to be sending a body with JSON stringify. It's sending me, basically it's sending me this request. It's order data.order ID. So it's extracting the order ID from the data and sending it back to my server. Okay, so I know which order has been approved by the user, and here it's saying that on success. So it's going to be logging, getting the JSON from the response, and here it's going to be logging the order data. Okay, so let me bring this function and add it here. Okay. So now I have the functions set up. I have the function, the PayPal button showing. Bear in mind this is kind of showing twice because I'm on the dev mode, but if we refresh the page, it should show correctly. So now if I click on this PayPal, it expects from me that I have a server running on the backend, and that server has some code that would create an order inside PayPal. Okay, we don't have it right now. But if we go back to this page here, you see that they have a sample code for both the front end and the backend. Okay, so let's check the backend code and see. So here on the backend, as you see, it has two routes: the create order and also the capture order. And the create order is generating an access token, sending it to the PayPal API, sending the response with a post method, getting back the response, and sending back the response to the front end. The capture payment is also the same. So we're going to be implementing all of these methods on our own. Okay. So where are we? Let me just commit. Okay. Let's do a commit working PayPal. Now we need to implement the backend. So far we have implemented only the front end section of it, or the front end part of our integration. We need now to implement the backend part, and we're going to be implementing it also using Next, because as I said, Next is a front end framework and a backend framework. But before doing that, let me just check if my live is working correctly. Don't tell me the screen was not shared. Present now, share screen.
كانت تبان كان كل شيء واضح.
Okay. Thank you, Sofa. So let me go back. Okay, so now we need to implement some API routes in Next.js. If you want to read the docs about them, you go to Next.js.org. Okay, and you go here to the docs, and right now with this app router doesn't support API routes because it supports something else we call server actions, but we need to use the API routes. So we're going to be using the old kind of way. So if you go here to using page router and look for API routes, where is it? Should be somewhere here. Routing, I guess. Yeah, API routes. So as you see, it's saying that in order to create an API route, you just create a new folder, call it pages. Inside it, you create a folder called API. And basically inside that folder, you create any file, and there you have an API route working. So let's copy this section here, which is the kind of the handler for an API route. And let's go to our project. They said that we need to create a new folder. Let's call it pages. Okay. Now inside pages, we need to create another folder. We call it API. Okay, and inside our API, what we need to create, we create a file named create in order to have a route name create. So let's create a file called create.ts. Okay, and inside it we paste this. Here it's yelling me, TypeScript is yelling at me because I didn't specify the type of the request and response parameters. So let's specify them. It's next API request, and here it's next API response. Okay, let's format it. So now I should have an API. Sorry, I think I created in the wrong location. Let me check what I did here. So it's API payments.create. Yeah, we need to add a folder here inside API, call it payments. Okay, and let's move this one inside it, because we might have other kind of routes. Okay, now let's create the second one. So let's just duplicate it and call it capture. Okay, capture, and here let's say capturing payment. Okay, and here we say creating payment. Okay, so now we should be able to test these two API routes. So let me test them. Let's kind of stop it and run it again. So it recognizes the routes correctly. What I need to do now is to test them. So let's try to test them with the curl command. So it's, let me just grab the link. Where is it? It's here. Okay. Maybe just do it here. Okay. Without curl. Payments. And it's create. Okay. Here, open it in a new window. So our API route is working. Now let's check the second row, the second API route, which is capture. And also the capture route is working. So inside this API route, we need to create a payment. And inside this API route, we need to capture the payment after the user has validated that payment. And we're going to be doing that by copying some code from what they have provided to us. Okay. So here we see that they are using the client ID and the client secret. Right now, we don't have them yet. So let's try to add them to the env file. Okay. And as you see here, we declare that this is a public environment variable because it's going to be using by our client side. But we need to, when we need to declare the secret, we need to declare it as a secret. So we don't need to append the public. So we just do next client ID, next PayPal. Sorry, PayPal. Okay, here is PayPal client secret. Okay, let's add also next PayPal its URL. Okay, now let's fill in these details. We already have them. We have the client ID, so let's bring it from this. It's here. We have, sorry, I should have pasted it here. Okay, now let's bring in the client secret. Okay, now we need the PayPal URL. We can get it from that documentation. It's this one, the sandbox URL. We are not using the live one. We are using the sandbox one, the test one. So let's copy it, bring it here. Now I'm gonna try to get these values from my API route and try to see if they are kind of if they are brought correctly or not. So let's go here. Let's bring them. We have the client ID process.inv. Let me go back. Okay. Sorry. This is a const. Okay. Let's copy this one 3 times. This is secret. This is URL. Okay. So let me bring this one. Client secret and the URL. Okay. So now I have these values. What I need to do is I'm going to try to see if they are being brought correctly or not. So let me try to put them in the response here and see. Okay, and the client secret. Okay, now let's see. Let's check our route. It's inside the capture. So let's test the capture. And as you see, it's kind of bringing my variables correctly. So I have the URL, I have the client ID, and I have the client secret. Now I can use them, but I'm not going to use them directly inside this file. I'm going to be using another file to store all my requests to the PayPal API. So let me close this one. I'm going to create a new folder here. I'm going to call it utils. Okay. Inside it, I'm going to create a new file, call it PayPal. So I know that all of my utilities exist within this PayPal file. I'm going to grab these parameters that I brought. I'm going to bring them here. Okay, I'm going to save. Remove these ones. Okay. Now here I'm going to create all the functions that I'm going to be using to interact with the API, with the PayPal API. Okay. And I'm going to bring them one by one from this page here. Let me go back. So this is the integrate checkout page. As we said, there is the front end section where it shows you the code that you need in the front end side, and there is the back end section that show you what code you need to have in your backend. Okay, so first of all, we're going to be implementing the get or generate access token function. So let's just copy it. Okay, bring it here. Okay, here it's asking me to provide the client ID. I'm going to provide it to it. And here it's asking me to provide the client secret. I'm going to provide it to it. And here it's asking me to provide the URL. I'm going to put it here. Okay. Format it. And there you go. I have my generate access token function. Okay. Let's check it. Let's test it if it's working correctly or not. So let's kind of export it from this file and see. Okay. I'm going to be exporting this function. Go back to my function here. Create new order. Let's import it. Generate token. Let's call it here const access token is equal to this function here. Of course, it's a promised function, so I should await it. And here it's telling me that await doesn't work in a function where I don't have an async. So let's declare an async function instead. And now I should have this API handler, this API route. And when I call it, it should call this generate access token, which in turn should call the PayPal API, and it should return to me an access token. So let me put it here and see if it's working correctly or not. Let me go back to my page. So it's inside the create, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it's inside the create. Let me close these files here since I don't need them. Okay. So let me go back to my page. Let me refresh. And as you see, I have generated my access token. So I know right now that the access token or the generate access token function is working correctly. So basically, whenever I'm calling this API that exists on my server is going to be calling on the background, is going to be calling the PayPal API, which exists on PayPal's servers. It's going to be calling precisely this function, which is the generate token function. And as you see here, they provided the same parameters that we provided. They provided the grant type, which is a client credential, and they provided the client ID and the secret. It's exactly the same thing that we did here inside this function. It's a post request. This is the body of the function, and this is the authorization. It's the exact thing that we have here on the documentation. And this method here, or this kind of API route that exists on PayPal's API, is going to return to us an access token that we see here. So right now we know that generate access token is working. Now let's try to implement the second method, which is the create order method. So let's copy it, bring it to our code, go to our file, let's post it. So as you see here, it's calling this method, the generate access token. It's waiting for it, getting the access token back, and sending this access token on the create order request. And I guess this is something that's kind of required. The API for creating orders requires an access token to create an order. Okay. Now what I'm going to do here, it's telling me because I didn't provide the correct URL. So let me provide it. Okay. Now I need to change this variable. So let's call it API URL. Okay. And what this function does, it's going to be calling the API, calling this API route on PayPal's end, and it's going to be creating the order, and the order kind of, or the amount and the order details are going to be this. So the amount is going to be 100, and the currency would be USD. So it's the American dollar. And this purchase unit is an object, and if you want to kind of know what goes inside it, you can go back to the documentations. You can either go back to Postman, or you can go back to their documentation here. Let me go online, API, REST APIs. So this is the documentation. You're going to go to orders, and this is the create order kind of request. And as you see here, it's saying that the purchase unit is an array of object, and each object has these items. It has the items that the user is going to buy, the amount, and the breakdown, and so on. Okay, let's go back here. I also need this kind of section, the application context. So let me copy it, and I'm going to add it here under the purchase unit. And here, instead of having example.com, I'm going to copy the link for my application, which is this one. I'm going to put it here. Okay. So this way, when a user cancels a payment, it's going to redirect him back to our website and not keep him on PayPal. Okay. Now let's export this function. Async function, and try it on our API route. Okay, so let's import it here. Instead of importing this generate access token, let's import the create order. Okay, and it's going to return the order. Now let's log the order. Okay, so now if I call this create route, it should call the API the PayPal API, and should create an order for us. Okay, so let's test it. So let's go to create. Let's test it. And as you see, it has returned to us some JSON. If we prettify it, let's try to prettify it and see what's inside it. Okay. So it's saying that it has created an order. The ID of the order that has been created is this one. And here it's returning to us some links. It's saying that the link for this order is going to be this one. So if we enter this link, we're going to see the details of the order. And also it's saying that in order for this order to be approved, you have to tell the user to go to this page and approve it. And we're going to allow, or we're going to keep this kind of function, or keep this strategy for the PayPal buttons to do it. So right now, the PayPal buttons will call our API. Our API will create an order. It will return an order. Then our PayPal buttons, which exist on the front end here, would get that order ID and pass it to the user. Then the buttons would know how to show the checkout page, and the user will enter the checkout and pay for the order. Okay. Now let's try to implement the approve order. Okay. So let's try to implement the approve order. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Let's go back. So we have implemented the create order. Now let's implement this one. Capture the order. Let's go to our file, our utility file. Let's paste it. Again, let's change the URL. So it's this one. URL. Okay. Let's change this one to API URL so it does know. Okay. And here it's going to be passed an order ID as a parameter. It's giving that order ID to this fetch request, and that fetch request is also going to be generating an access token and sending a fetch request to PayPal API. Okay. Now let's add this capture payment. Let's export it. Sorry. Export it. Okay. And now let's call it inside this function, this route function capture. So let's say const captured order is equal to capture payment, and here it's expecting us to give it an ID. And where should we get that ID? If you go back to the PayPal button component, you see here that when it's calling the onApproved method, it's calling our API, it's calling our capture route, and it's sending in the request, it's sending an order ID. So we should be able to extract that order ID from our request. Okay, so let's go back to capture, and we should have here something like this: order ID is equal to capture, sorry, request body. We are extracting it from the body. Okay, before checking the capture order, let's check if we are getting the order ID correctly. Okay, so now in order to test this route, since we are sending some data, we cannot test it with a GET request as we were testing it before, so we need to test it using Postman, or instead we can use the curl command to send some data. Okay, so let's test it using the curl. I have it saved here. This is the curl command to send a post request. Okay, so let's copy it. Let's bring it to my terminal. Okay, now in the URL, I should put the URL for my route, which is this one. Instead, I'm going to change create to capture. Okay, and in the data, let me try to put an order ID parameter. ID, and here I'm going to put any value. Let's try to send it. And as you see, I'm getting my value back. If I do it this way, order ID is equal to order ID. And here do change this to some ID. You see I'm getting back the order ID some ID. So basically I'm able to extract the order ID from the body of the request. Now I need to pass this ID to the capture payment. So let's do const capture payment. And as you see, it's waiting for me to provide it with the order ID. So let's put an order ID here. Okay, and now let's console log whatever is returned from this function, and let's try it again. Okay, now if I send again a command to my API route, it should try to capture the payment with this order ID, but since this is not a valid order ID, I'm going to give it a valid one, which is the one that we got earlier. So let me go back to my screen. It's this one, this order ID, which is the one that we got when we created the payment. So let's pass it to the request and see. Okay, now if I send this request, it would capture the payment, but it's not going to capture it for a reason. I'm going to tell you why. So let's try it. Sorry, what that does happen. Yeah, I didn't call it and wait on it. Let's wait. Let's do it again. So you see here, it's returning to us this JSON response. Let me copy and try to prettify it and see what it's saying. Okay, so let's do a new file. It's JSON. Okay, format it. So it's saying that this is an unprocessable entity, which means that this request was not processed. It had some errors. And as you see here, it's saying that the order was not approved. And it's saying here that the payer has not yet approved the order for payment. Please redirect the payer to the relation approve URL. So basically, it's saying that you are trying to capture a payment that you have created it without having the user to approve it. So basically, we need to have the user approve the payment. And once the user approves the payment, we can capture it. And that's right now done by the PayPal button component. So if you go here, the PayPal button component, you see that this function from PayPal buttons, we have provided it with a function called create order. And we have also provided it with a function called onApprove. And those functions basically are calling our APIs. So the first function is calling our API payments create, and the second function is calling our API to capture. But now the buttons function will handle all of the transactions, so it only needs to know what's the order, and it knows what will be approved by the user. Okay, so let's try it. And right now, if everything works correctly, we should have a log in our console saying that this is the order and this is like the details of the order that has been captured. Okay, let's try it. Okay, let's go back. Let's go back to our, I mean, we can close this one, we can close this page, we can close this page, we can, I think, close this one we don't need it anymore, this one we don't need it. Let's refresh. Okay, and let's try to click on PayPal button, click on it. So now it's showing me the screen. Okay, now I need to log in with my account, with the buyer account. It's the one I have here. So let's log in. Okay, and the password for that account is this one. So let's use it. Let's go back to my page. Okay, now let me press login. Okay. It's asking me to save my password. I'm not going to save it. And it's showing me the PayPal pop-up that says that here you have this item, the total of the invoice that you are going to be paying, it's 100, as I specified here in the create. Let me go back to the create order. You see here I specify that the total is 100 US dollars, and it's asking me if I want to pay with my PayPal balance or my credit card. On this is all kind of fake accounts that PayPal provides you with when you are testing. I'm going to say that I want to pay with my PayPal balance. So let me complete the purchase. Let me go back to my page. And if everything works correctly, I see this console log. It's saying that this is the payment. It has been captured, and this is the details for the payment. So this is the ID of the payment. The status is completed. The user who has paid is this one, buyer@gdgalgiers.com. Here's its account ID, its name, John Doe, and its address. It's the exact information that we specified in the PayPal account. And here it shows you some details that you need, that you may need in order to show the user, for example, the shipping or the payment or the kind of amount, the payment, and so on. So this is the entire order details. All we need to do right now is inside this function, instead of logging the order to the console, what we can do here, we can redirect the user to the correct kind of page, to the thank you page, where we show him a message saying thank you for choosing our service or something like that. Okay, so let's do here window, location, href, and here we're going to specify thank you. Right now we don't have this page. Okay, so let's build it. Let's go to shop, or not shop, let's build it on the root. So let's create a new folder, call it thank you. Okay, let's add a page. ES6. Okay, let's, for example, copy the same code that we have here, delete some parts, this one I don't need it, this one I don't need. Okay, remove some unused imports. Okay, let's see if the design of our page is good. Okay, so this is our page. Now let me go back to Daisy UI to see if I have a component that I can use. Daisy UI. Okay, see components. Maybe a card component would be good, but in this time, I'm going to be using this one because I like it. So let's copy it, bring it here. Let's get the image. Okay, so this is the image. Select. Here we can say congratulations. Congratulations, you have purchased this amazing shoes from our store. And we can here say, for example, shoe name, which is, for example, Jello Winter Edition or something. This is just dummy data. You can change it later. Edition. Okay, and here we can do shop for more. Okay, so let's check. Let's give it a little bit of the width. So let's do width of 6 pixels. Okay, good. Let's align it to the center. Justify center. Sorry, center. Okay. Now I need to give it a background like this. So let's inspect this background. Maybe we can find it. Yeah, it's here. This image. How do I get it? Yeah. So this is the image for the background. I'm gonna add it to this div. So let's say style. This is just CSS background image and take URL. Okay. Let's see if the background appears. So the background appears. And now I need to add a Tailwind class to make it a little bit big. So let me add this Tailwind class. I think it's BG cover, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So BG cover. Let's bring this one a bit. Let's make it. Okay. Let's change the text here. Let's make it a little bit gray. So let's do text slate. Okay. Or 600 maybe. And let's do it for the same, for the paragraph last name. Okay. And this button should take us to the home page. So let's do, instead of button, let's add a link and do an href. Okay, to the home page. Okay, and now we need to add some confetti just to show the user that we are proud of him buying from our shop. So let's go, it's easy. Let's do React confetti. This is a great package. It will create this kind of an effect. So let's install it. Let's wait for it a bit. Commit. So let's create the component, the confetti component. Let me go back. Confetti. Components, new file, confetti.js. Here I'm going to bring exactly what they had on the documentation. Okay. Instead of using their hook, I'm going to be using the one from our library. So let me delete this one and import it from use hooks because we already installed that library. This one I'm going to call React confetti. So I can call my component confetti. Instead of having default import, I'm going to declare component, call it confetti. Okay, I'm going to export it like this. Also, I'm going to remove this line and declare it as a client component. This is going to be running on the client. Now I'm going to go here, export everything from confetti. I should be able now to import it into my thank you page. So let me go to my thank you page, go to the top and import my confetti client. It should render some .confetti. Let me go to the thank you page. And now I have rendered some confetti. So let's try the PayPal checkout from the beginning and see if it works correctly or not. Let me close this one, refresh. I want to buy this item, so I'm going to click on buy now. It's going to show me the PayPal buttons. So I'm going to click on this PayPal button. It should show me the checkout pop-up from PayPal to ask me if I approve this payment or not. of course I'm gonna approve this payment because I need these fancy shoes, and it's priceless, so it's only $100. So let me complete the purchase, and it should take me back to the thank you page. If I did everything correctly, I don't know. And now it took me to the thank you page with confetti and with congratulations and so on. And like this, we have implemented a payment gateway in our website using PayPal API and using the standard checkout payment method from PayPal. I hope that everything was clear. I hope that you enjoyed this session. I know it wasn't smooth as I wanted it to be, but we have implemented what we were to be implemented. So I hope that you like this session. And if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them, of course.
So guys, if you have any question, don't assist. Sinon, on clôture session. If you don't have any question. So I think...
Didn't they put any questions on Discord? Maybe the Discord people put some questions. I don't know. Let me check the Discord. I don't see any questions on Discord. I don't know if this session was too complex, so there are no questions, or it was too easy, so that everyone has understood how to implement it. Thanks, Hind. I see your message. Thanks. I see that you come from YouTube. Good watch. By the way, I'm gonna be I'm gonna be pushing the code to GitHub, and I'm gonna be making the repository public. And let me just do it right now. Live code it. Let me just share my screen so you see it in action. Sorry, give me a second. Okay, so this is the repository inside GitHub. I'm gonna go to settings, make it public. Where is it? I think it's here. I forget where this exists. Yeah, it's here. So to be honest, I forget where I put it public. Is it inside collaborators? Yeah, it's here. Change visibility, change to public. I want to make this repository public. I understand this effect. Okay, so now this repository is public. And what I have did is inside this repository, you're going to find 6 branches. So the main branch is the kind of the latest or the working kind of solution or the working project. So if you go inside it, you find everything. And I have created some branches for each step. So when I set up the next project, I have created a branch. Then if you go to this branch, it's when I created the design. The second branch is when I added the PayPal buttons. This one is when the payment was working, and this one when I created the thank you page. So you can check each branch and see the code inside it. So it's like a step by step.
Okay.
This is
Hint said not so easy, but I gotta repeat that on my own to see how it worked better. And another question, BCHTV said, I'm about to start learning TC. Any advice for me and good tutorials you recommend?
Yeah, I would recommend directly Matt Pocock. So let me just find it. Matt Pocock. This one. This one. So go to his website. He has a ton of tutorials. Some courses also. He have a YouTube channel also, and inside it there are a ton of free tutorials that would kind of give you the a good understanding about TypeScript, especially how to use it with React. And it's pretty kind of easy to understand it. It's not that advanced, and also you don't need to be that advanced in TypeScript unless you are going to create some libraries. If you are only going to create some React components or some React projects, you don't need to kind of be a TypeScript wizard. So I really suggest to go this one, to go to this, to this website. Where should I share it? I'm going to share it on Discord. I don't know if they see it there or not. I'm going to share it anyway. So I shared the link on Discord. I see BCH is on YouTube, but I don't know how to share it with him. So maybe if he joins the Discord, he would find the link. I'm also going to share a few links, the link for the repository. Let me grab it. This one. Okay. Also, if I can go to this links here, I can share them also. This is kind of all the links that we have used in this session. I have shared them all to Discord. Any questions, guys?
So, guys, if you don't have any question else, let's conclude this session. So, thank you a lot. Where can we reach out to you later, sir? Please.
Yeah, of course, BCH. Yeah, you can reach out. You can find me on basically everywhere. You can find me on GitHub under this username, the Dijkstra. And you can also find me on Twitter. So if you go to my GitHub profile, you see this link for my Twitter account and for my LinkedIn profile. And if you are a fellow Discord member on the GDG Algiers community Discord server, you can find me here. I'm pretty much around all the time, so you can reach out to me here too on Discord. Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Hind. Exactly. Thanks. By the way, thank you guys for sticking with us for 2 hours. I see that the live is 2 hours and 15 minutes. It's a lot. So thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mohammed.
Suhaib.
Thank you for this session. It's
it was my pleasure.
Interesting things. Okay, let's conclude this session. Thank you, guys. Thank you for attending this session. So see you next session, inshallah. Thank you also, Mohammed, if you need to add anything.
Okay, thank you, Safa. Again, I'm going to thank everyone for joining this session, and also thanks for GDG Algiers for giving us such an opportunity. I'm so flattered and so honored to be hosting this session today. I'm hoping that in the future we could do more, maybe more subjects, maybe discuss other things. And so that's it for me. I really thank you guys for sticking with us for all this, for the entire session. And thank you.